Good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you might be watching. Welcome to lesson number 8 in the series, Complete Excel. This time we're going to look more closely at charts and graphs. They're a very popular feature in Excel because they have a major advantage of showing me a visual representation of the trend in numbers or data. So if I said to you, tell me the trend in these numbers here for these particular cartons of fruits that have been sold in these months. Well, you may scratch your head and think, oh, gosh, I don't know. But if I chart the numbers by dragging through the cells, and let me say this, that there is a golden rule in creating a chart. That is, you must of course first select the data that you want charted, and secondly, you must have the same number of rows in any column that is included in the chart. Now this particular worksheet is, I'm taking up a lot of space in the worksheet because I wanted the figures and the information to be more easily read by you. So what I'm going to do is to insert the chart on its own sheet. And what I do, I simply need to press the F11 key, and as if by magic, the chart appears on its own sheet. And now I can see quite easily the trend in the various series. So the oranges, I can see they're the blue ones. They seem to be going up okay. Much easier than looking at the numbers back in the data, which is still available to me, of course. So there's the oranges, but now they're charted. There's the apples. Let's look at the apples in the chart. I see that the apples in the chart are the red ones, and there's a visual representation of what was happening with the sales. Much easier to understand when I have a chart. However, the chart here in its own sheet by default will show me the selection handles, a little bit hard to see around the chart, but they are around the edges and on the corners. They look like little dots, and when that chart is selected and I see the dots, the chart tools tab appears up the top here. It has 3 tabs: design, layout and format. And the idea of this is that if I looked at this chart in its present state, I would not know too much about it. What is it? What does it represent? Well, in the layout tab, I can look in the labels group and see chart title, and I might like to put a chart title up at the top here. I'll click the drop arrow, and I want the title to be above the chart, and I want that title will say fruit sales, for example. And when I press the enter key, there is my heading, fruit sales. Incidentally, if I click outside of the chart, I see that the chart becomes deselected, and therefore I do not see that extra group up at the top of the ribbon. When I click back into a corner of the chart, it becomes selected, and I again see the chart tools up here waiting for me to use them. So I might like, for example, down the left hand side here, the y-axis. This is the x-axis along the bottom. The axis titles, the primary vertical axis. I'll say I want a vertical title, vertical text, and resize the chart to take care. And in here I might say cartons, or whatever the numbers represented. And when I press enter, there I see a label for me. Click outside the chart, and the chart starts to take on some greater meaning. I can format what's inside here by clicking and selecting, and when I right click, I can format the axis title, maybe with some fill. Perhaps a light grey might be nice. We'll put a light grey there, etc. And I also might like to do the same up here. Right click, format the chart title, and I'll make it a solid fill, again the light grey, and so I format my chart. So that's how I create charts. Remember that the key is to make sure that you have the same number of rows selected as you have columns in the spreadsheet. You must have the same number of rows in each column in that chart. Now, what if I wanted to just chart this information here, holding down the control key against each other for June? Now, I selected from A1, even though A1 was a blank cell, down to A6, and with my control key held down, which lets me select non-adjacent cells, I selected G1 down to G6. And again, if I press the 11 key, there is my information for each of the fruits just for June. And it's put it into its own sheet down here. I'll delete that one, right click, delete, confirm the deletion, and that is how we create simple charts. In the next lesson we'll be using the same chart, but we'll be changing the type of chart. So stay tuned for the next lesson. It will be uploaded shortly. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.